Hey, it's Brad, Jack of All Ventures, and today I want to go over experience I've been having with Tesla service. A couple weeks ago, I made a video. It's a little bit long, so this one I'm going to try to actually summarize it pretty quick on what happened. My car was not charging, and it was coming out of Marathon, and coming out of the Keys, and I stopped in Marathon, and it wouldn't charge. I thought it was the chargers. I actually got a lot of video that would be good to make a video out of. I haven't got around to making that yet on how you can extend your range by going slow. And I made it to Florida City, and once I made it to Florida City supercharger, my car still would not charge. So I figured out it was my car and not the chargers like I thought it was in Marathon. Anyways, I called Tesla Roadside, and it was about 6 hours later that I finally got towed to the Coral Gables Tesla Service Center in Miami. And that's when the real crap kind of started. Because the car would not charge, I kind of was in a bind, and the whole 12-volt battery and everything ended up being dead by morning. And I spent the night in the car waiting for them to open so I could get the car serviced. And so I took it to them. They were a little bit hesitant. Well, I shouldn't say hesitant, but I guess just their standard practice was, all right, we got your car, cool, go about your day, man. Maybe we'll get back to you by the end of the day and let you know what's going on if we get to it, but don't hold your breath type of attitude. Because I travel in my car, and I really didn't have a place to go. And they realized the dogs were in the car currently and all that. They did take the car in for service like right away. I have a couple little issues with that, but I'm not going to get into that now. But they took the car in for service, and they're like, oh, we should be able to figure it out pretty quick for you. But no promises. You know, I kept getting strung along throughout the day. Finally, at some point in the day, they told me they needed to change the charge port door. And that was going to be like 800 and some bucks, and then another $300 to change the 12-volt battery, which the 12-volt battery went dead, but I know it could be recharged, and I insist that they recharge it, even though they strongly recommended I pay them another 300 bucks, which was a little bit of frustration for me. But nothing too huge, and nothing that's too out of the ordinary anyways, especially for a dealer service center, which I know Elon kind of wants their service centers not to make a bunch of money, but unfortunately with my experience here and just stuff I'm starting to see, is it seems like their service centers want to make some money on you. Either that or they don't know what they're doing, and either one is kind of a problem for me in this case. So so I end up, the car didn't get finished that day. I had to go get a hotel. Next day, they come up with a new problem because they can't get it still can't get it to charge, and they have to swap out the main charger, which they tell me it's like a $4,000 part, but they're going to give me a good deal and only charge me like, I think they charged me just under $3,900 total for what they did. And it took them another day and a half actually to get that charger in there and get the car back to me. The whole time I think they were having significant problems getting it to charge, and it's because they never diagnosed the real problem, which fortunately, because of the sweet tea and unsweet dispenser, I did figure it out. But they also couldn't get the update to run. That was another big problem they were having, again probably because of the problem that I ultimately diagnosed, which that problem is the key fob. Key fob was sending a constant signal to the car telling it to open the charge port door. And luckily I figured this out, because the day after I got the car back from them fixing it, I went in to get something to drink while leaving it plugged in, even though it wasn't charging. And while I was waiting for them to put the proper tea in the dispenser, I pull out my app to let Tesla know that the car is still broke, even they spent 2.5 days working on it. And sure enough, it was charging. And then I'm like, great, it's charging. Maybe problem solved. It just wasn't patient enough. I come back out to the car and it's not charging again. So a little bit later, I actually did figure out that It was the I plugged it into a 110 outlet and it would not charge, and I moved the fob away from the car and it leave the fob there and come back, it's charging, go get the fob, bring the fob back, it quits charging. So I did it 2-3 times. I got a couple videos that I probably should really get them up. I probably can do that without too much editing, but as a amateur YouTuber that's not skilled at editing, most of my stuff that gets up is unedited, which is kind of why I'm making this video now. I'm trying to make it short and to the point so you don't have to edit it. But so I guess kind of my current situation, it was like 2 weeks ago I took the car in and to the Claremont, because I moved up to Orlando area, and took it to Claremont Tesla Service Center, and they were great in there. They kind of understood my concerns. I guess they still tried to charge me and convince me to run more diagnostics, but I insisted I don't need any more diagnostics. All I need is a new fob, and when my car charges just fine after I get a new fob, that's all the diagnostics I need. And you know, they got me the new fob, and sure enough, I left there and my car worked fine. If you look at my channel, I got a couple other shorts and stuff that I made on the fob being the problem. So now it's like 2 weeks later. I've come back to Florida partially to try to get this resolved, because when I left Claremont, they were contacting the Coral Gables Service Center and kind of putting in a request for a refund for me, because they did a lot of work that they didn't need to do, and my account was under review, and I was to patiently wait for an answer. And you know, it's been a little while. I will say Spencer from the Claremont Service Center, he did a good job staying in contact with me, let me know what was going on. And then when I got down here, he also told me he wasn't going to be in that service center anymore, and I should contact the manager, Todd. And I worked with him, and he seemed to be really great and understand my situation, but he says ultimately got to happen through Miami. And he got the Coral Gables representative gave me a call yesterday, no, day before yesterday. He hadn't called. He was supposed to call me back yesterday, so now I'm kind of at a point where I'm going to make this video, then go and call them and try to make something happen, because when he called on Tuesday, it's today, now Thursday, I don't know, it's like, I think it's like 2 weeks after this all happened. So you know, long enough for people to make a decision or get involved and make a decision on something. And the decision, you know, they basically told me on Tuesday was, you know, they had a special tech that travels all around that happened to be there and was able to work on my car, and they knew what they were doing, and everything they replaced absolutely had to be replaced. And they're sorry that those things didn't fix it, and I had an additional problem with the key fob. Well, and I just needed to trust them that all this stuff needed done. And for me, with my experience, I mean, I'm not a Tesla service technician, but when you bring a car in, it's exhibiting a problem with the charge port door opening and closing, and I mean, I got video from when I talked to the guys. It's like I told them that from the time I got the car there, and they give the car back. I guess when they give the car back, somehow the charge door was not opening and closing constantly anymore. My theory, which again, I'm not a Tesla service, but I'm also not trusting of what they want to tell me is the truth, when clearly that, I mean, I could go into some of the details while I was there in Miami. They clearly lied to me about when my car was going to be done and stuff like that. They just aren't really giving me reasons to really trust them. But if the car is doing the same problem the whole time, I think even though they swapped out the parts, they still couldn't get the car to charge, and they did some kind of software patch or something. I mean, this is why I don't think they intentionally ran up a big bill and everything on me, but although that is possible. But I think they were legitimately trying to fix it, and they couldn't figure out what it was, and they probably did some kind of software patch so the car would forget about the key fob. Not exactly sure, you know, again, not being a Tesla technician, how hard it would be to diagnose the problem when the key fob is actually the problem. Um, but whatever, it worked for about a day, and then charge port door started opening and closing on its own. I got real good video of that. Hatchback actually opened once all on its own and closed all on its own, which that was a little bit extra concerning, because you know, if I left my dogs in the car or something on dog mode, and you know, at the time it was really concerning because I didn't know it was the fob. But I guess now that I know it's the fob, as long as the fob was away from the car, the hatchback shouldn't open and close all on its own. There was even a moment where I thought maybe my wife was messing with me with the app and using the app to play these tricks on me, because all that stuff is possible with the technology nowadays. But yeah, so anyways, it started doing the exact same problem, and I mean, I truly feel that the only problem was the fob the entire time, and I don't know how to prove it to them. They seem to want to insist that, you know, it was other problems as well, and those problems all needed fixed. So I asked them to, you know, do some checking and give me some more proof other than your word that it needed done. They wouldn't tell me technicians' names. They wouldn't. I mean, they keep everything hush hush. That's another thing too, is the Coral Gables, they were pretty adamant about not letting you record any video or whatever on their site. And Claremont, you know, that I have a video, and maybe I'll try to tack it on the end of this, of when I met with Spencer for the first time, because then I was pretty upset once I figured out it was the fob. And I just put the camera right on him and went there and had a discussion with him, and he let me video him the whole time, and I got that whole discussion on video. Seems like it didn't come out real clear, but and I was right after I turned it off, I was like, hey, you didn't seem too bothered by my video, and he's like, yeah, we're in Florida, you're allowed to do that. So I don't know whether I'm allowed to or not. I don't know what the exact laws are in every exact little spot, but Miami sure didn't want to be videoed there, and I think if you don't have anything to hide, you don't care if you're videoed. But if you're hiding stuff and playing games, then you don't want to be videoed. So I don't know, just I definitely like to hear somebody's opinion or whatever, whether you think Tesla should be responsible for the repairs they made that most likely were not needed unless they can prove they were needed. I mean, I can see the argument from the service center's point of view is, you know, they were doing their best to diagnose it, and they had the best people in the land, according to them, doing the diagnosis, and they still couldn't figure it out. So they tried. So I guess they deserve something for trying. I don't know. Do you think they're incompetent? I mean, really, just look at my couple other videos. You can see that clearly the key fob was malfunctioning and sending a signal to the car. And if I would have known this Tuesday, I remember clearly it was a Tuesday that I had the problem in the first place, because, you know, I arrived at the service center, or I mean the supercharger, at a little bit before 4 o'clock, and I didn't get to the service center until 10. And, you know, that whole time, if I would have just known to move the fob away from the car, it would have started charging. And I mean, it was saved all kinds of problems that night. Maybe someday I'll talk about the other things that were going on in my life that I remember that night pretty well, but not at this point. But yeah, let me know what you think. Should Tesla be responsible for giving me some sort of a refund anyways? I mean, $4,000 for parts I didn't, nearly $4,000, $38.90 or something like that, for stuff I didn't need, when all I really needed was the fob, and they couldn't diagnose it until I figured it out for them. So I guess it's still a 15-minute long video, but hopefully you stuck with it, and I didn't bore you too much, and you understand the situation I'm in, and let me know what you think. I think it's pretty poor quality service when you don't have a choice to go anywhere but Tesla. Although hopefully in the future there'll be more places. I did, before I get a bunch of comments, people telling me to check out Rich Rebuilds and his garage. I did talk to them. Actually, I talked to them once while I was in the service center. And then ultimately Service Center supposedly fixed my problem, so I wasn't worried about it then. And then I didn't talk to them again until recently, when I came back to Florida, because once I had it solved with that fob, I just didn't call them back. But they were actually really helpful, and they pick up the phone right away, and you can talk to them, which is more than I can say for Tesla. It seems like a chore just to get them on the phone and talk to them. Sometimes it's easier than others, but it's definitely not call and have their phone have another person on the line as soon as you dial that number. That was definitely cool with I think it's called Electrify Garage or something like that. But I got another problem. I will definitely consider going to them if I'm in the area. No, also I did keep the old expensive charger that they took out of my car. So one thing I can consider doing as well, if I don't get any satisfaction from Teslas, I might see if they would put the old charger back in my car to see if it works. I guess I'd have to have a little bit of trust that the charger they gave me is actually the charger that came out of my car, and and put it in, and if it works, clearly they didn't need to swap it out in the first place, and they're lying to me. And that's what bugs me more than anything else. If they would actually just say, you know what, we're sorry, sir, we tried our best and this is the best we could do, instead of telling me, oh, we promise you those parts had to be replaced. That's I don't know, maybe that's expecting too much for people to be that honest. All right, I'm out. Thanks for listening to my story, and let me know in the comments what you think. And it's not over yet. I'm hoping they do the right thing here, but I'm done giving them days and days to call me back when they say they're going to call me the next day. So I'm going to give them a call here in a few minutes, and hopefully I can get a hold of them, and maybe I'll know more. All right, I'm Brad. I'm out for now.